think we're live.
That was an awkward start, but also
I do
an
it.
awesome
I
start.
do it every time. Every time that whole music.
The music
Yeah.
every time.
I just rock out.
Every time it gets you. It gets you every time.
It gets me every
I
time.
forgot about it because I hit go live and I'm like, I'm supposed to do something next. I'm like, the countdown. The countdown. Okay. But after it's rusty. It's been all summer. Stumbled.
It's been all
back
summer,
into
man.
it, right? Get back into the flow again.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a weird. Is a weird summer the way to put it? Boring, maybe is the word.
Boring, man.
Boring.
Like it's
Not only the
sapped my
Sabres, it's like the league in general.
whole league. It like sapped my intrigue so much. Like I've thought about hockey so little this summer just because there's nothing different. It's like they just said, all right, we're gonna pause 3 months, pick up right where we left off, guys. Like everybody good? Great.
What was the biggest trade of the biggest move? Pierre-Luc Dubois? That was the biggest move of the offseason, right?
I guess, yeah. I'm trying to think of like a free agent that was notable, and there isn't one. Thomas Tatar, 8 months later.
In the Erik Karlsson, that was probably the biggest one.
That was a good one. Yeah, okay. But like not much, man. Like no goalies got traded. Hardly anything.
No goalies. None of the big defensemen, really, besides Karlsson. That's it.
All right, like I mean, even like guys, I'm like some interested in, some not. Like Tatar, who I was interested in, right? 1 year, $1 million. Like 8 months later, and like Pat Kane, like a big name around the league, like nowhere yet, right? Yep. It's just weird, man. You got these like solid-ish third line guys getting PTOs. Like I just don't know what's happening. It's a weird summer, man.
Yeah.
Super lame. Like Connor Clifton is like the most exciting thing that happened this summer. And that, like, if you'd have told me that, if you'd have told me that in March,
it was the first day of the offseason too, like
right,
the actual offseason.
If you'd have straight up said that in March, right, like without the context of the league does nothing at all in general, right? Yeah. And you said to me like, Sabres, their biggest move is signing Connor Clifton to a 3-year deal. I would have just walked into oblivion, just like I'd have found oblivion and walked into it. But like I can't be mad at them because like nobody else did anything.
It's like I didn't miss on something because nothing else.
Like, I'm disappointed. I'm like unenthused, but it has nothing to do with the Sabres, if that makes sense. Like nothing they did wrong. It's just like shitty though that we're basically running back the same team out of like circumstance, right? Like out of necessity because nobody did anything.
So we already have a question I think is relevant to the conversation. I'm going to pop up here. But before we get to that...
Do I get to see those or just you?
They're going to pop up like this. Can you see them like that?
Mm-hmm.
See that? So they're going to pop up like that. So this is the first question we're talking about because it's relevant. But just so people know who are in this. So you can put your question in the comment section on the right. I'm going to be monitoring it. So I'll pull up the questions that I think are good topics to talk about. Also, I'm watching my Twitter too. So if you, for some reason, can't write a comment or question in here, then I'll pull it out of Twitter too, and we'll use both of those. Okay, so this question from Blake. Do we think they should have been desperate enough to throw money at Korpisalo?
I don't think like 6 years.
5 years? 5?
Not for me. No. If Korpisalo had signed like a 2-year, $4 million deal, I'd have said yes to that question. But he signed like something crazy, like a 5x5 or a 5x6, and like, no, not for me. If you're gonna do that, go back in time 2 years and give it to Linus Ullmark.
It was so long ago too. It's like I can't even remember.
I know it was the biggest like
5 times 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 times 4.
Yeah, no, I don't want that term. I wouldn't have wanted 4 years. I think like you could have maybe talked me into like a 3x3, but like no.
I don't think it would have passed 2.
Me neither. I'm just saying like gun to my head, like maybe, but no, definitely not at that contract. I would not have matched or beaten it.
I've always been an anti-Korpisalo guy, so I can't really like say that I'm.
Me too. I think I saw, and again, I'm going back months because like I went to Iceland and like I had a very busy summer, and so like
Mhm.
I'm trying to like piece back together my brain a little bit, my hockey brain, I guess. But like I vaguely recall seeing a private model. Someone tweeted out that he was like not as bad as the public model show. And being a guy who is a horrible goalie analyst, like with my eyeballs, like I don't know what
Mhm.
makes a good goalie. I'll never know. Like save a lot of pucks. Like that's my criteria. I tend to lean a little harder on the models that I see. So
Yeah.
it not to say that I became a Corpusalo fan. I still think he's like whatever at best average, like at best, right?
Mhm.
That's a lot of money in term for that. But I don't hate him. But yeah, like you said, 2 years, like maybe, yeah. But that's not what the I think Senators, right, were willing to pay him? No, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the thing about too, like I think is not frustrating, but like people point to Korpisalo how he played after the deadline, and I think that's LA's model, right? I mean, I get he
He's
had good
also
numbers
like
in Columbus before that, but
yeah,
like, I mean, Phoenix Copley looked good for them. I mean, like, come on,
great
like,
point. It's a great point. It's a great point. No, it is, but then, people are like, "Well, Cal Peterson looked like crap for them." Well, maybe Cal Peterson's just really bad. Um,
karma.
but but also, like, he was the one guy who I think bucked that trend. You found all this historical data, right, of goalies performing poorly
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
trade deadline, right? And,
yeah.
he was, like, the one exception. Like, it doesn't happen really, so, I don't know that I'd be banking that much financial, commitment to a trend breaker, an a statistical outlier, I should say. Trend breaker makes it sound like a good thing. Um, and, like, I'm, like, selling it, but yeah.
All right, let's throw Jake's question up here because it's also relevant. So, understand the risk they're taking with Levi as their primary starter. What I don't get is how they can be comfortable with the risk they're taking behind him. How can they justify UPL and Comrie?
Nobody did anything. There were no good free agents,
Right. Nobody
in
else. Nobody else. Yeah.
environment.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
who
I
did
don't
you?
I
I guess you
hate
can tell
it.
the one you missed on really is you can't even say that because he went back to Pittsburgh. Is Jari
Right, yeah, he went
Andrew
back
Anderson? You didn't miss because he went back to Carolina. Same thing with
right,
Ronta. So
yeah.
like,
Yeah, there was
what do you
the
do?
market ended up slimmer than most expected. Varlamov went back to the island, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was just nothing there. No one got traded, so like I hate it. Don't get me wrong, I hate the idea of going into the season with this trio, but circumstance, man. What I don't
Yeah.
know alternatively what I would have suggested.
Yeah. I mean, you can't like I get it. You know, like Adam's job is to make his team better and make trades and figure out things like that. But and I'm not trying to defend him because I did say going into this offseason, if he didn't do these things, that I would say was a failure. And I still think that's maybe failure is a harsh word, but I think he didn't accomplish what I think needed to be accomplished. Maybe the best way to say it. But at the same time, if people are asking for crazy prices or just the guys just don't get moved, what are you supposed to, what do you do? Like
Hmm.
it is what it is. It's the circumstance of the salary cap. It's the circumstance of general managers. I mean, I watched the embedded video before this, maybe like an hour ago, and he talked about it. And like, he wasn't talking about players, but even like draft picks. He's like, you have all these conversations. He says about making these trades, and then just nobody makes it. Nobody trades the picks. Nobody makes trades. Like it doesn't happen. So I don't know.
I wonder. Nobody like tweeted anything to this effect, so I'm guessing not. But I wonder when the last time is. Maybe it's not the first time. When was the last time a first round went through with no trades, like no picks exchanged
A
hands?
while. I think it was a while.
Yeah, I mean, I would
Because
assume so. I
usually it
don't
doesn't happen.
remember it.
It doesn't happen early, but like once you get into the
Mhm.
20, you start to see some shuffling.
Right, someone moves into the end of the round or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
or
yeah,
back
man, there's
back like 3 or 4 picks, something like that.
right,
Say in the
right,
first
right.
round, but they drop back a few.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't.
remember. I don't remember the exact amount, but it's been a
It's funny. We
while.
were driving to Massachusetts, and I was watching the draft in the passenger seat of our car. And while my wife
Mhm.
was driving, I like timed her driving shift with the draft, right? And I'm just like waiting. I'm like refreshing Twitter feverishly in like the Pennsylvania wilderness, like driving through no man's land, thinking like it's just not refreshing, right? Because I'm not seeing anything cool. Like, nope, just nothing cool happened.
Just nothing at all. Yeah. Brutal, rough. All right, let's do one more goalie thing here, then move past the goalies. So speaking of goalies, do we know if they were having a conversation about making a move for one, or was it quiet all around? My understanding going into the offseason is they wanted to improve. I think they looked at their options both in free agency and via trade, and it just didn't come together. I mean, you could say probably Jari and Anderson were the two guys they'd have, their eyes on in terms of free agency, and they went back to where they were. Anderson, I mean, I don't know Anderson technically hit the market, but I don't think he ever really did. I think at that point that deal was pretty much done.
Yeah, it was sewn up.
It just didn't get announced like 15 minutes after 12 o'clock. So, and then from a trade perspective, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Carter Hart price is crazy. And then also you have the World Junior investigation he's part of too with that, right? So, I mean, that's kind of a, what do you want to do there? And then
even the big guys, Hellebuck, Saros, they're all where they started.
Yep.
Gibson. They're all still there, man.
Even the guys lower, Ladar, none of those guys.
Yeah,
all stayed. Crazy.
Swayman, everybody's still where they were.
Nobody offers shit.
This is a lame dude. I know I'm like beating the shit out of a dead horse, but like, oh my god, painfully boring. Like, it just like, why? Someone do something. I don't care. I don't care if it's Steven Sabres related. Someone do something.
I'm with you. All right. Let's see what Twitter has. We pull something off of there. I hate Chuck so much. Chuck asks, how many games will Savoy play before Benson? Because we have that. That's good. That's a good one. I'll save that one. I like that question. I don't want to go there yet. So let's see. Can you see the comments? Or no?
Is it just look at something? I can.
I'm gonna see if there's anything in there you want to go to next.
I can now because I was on private chat for some reason.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking maybe Greenway. You want to talk about Greenway next?
That's actually a pretty good one. Yeah. Where do you see that?
All right.
Behind, but whatever. Yeah. Let's do that.
For Michael, do you think Greenway is being underrated in terms of the impact he might have on the team, or will he just be another guy in the bottom six?
I don't know if those are mutually exclusive. I think his impact's getting underrated because of who he's potentially blocking, right, in that young forward group.
Sure,
I think people would rather see Kulik in that spot, in that roster spot, not necessarily the same role. And so they're a little annoyed that Greenway kind of exists, but he had a bad start first few games here, but I thought he finished the season really nicely, and I want to see what Don Granato can do with him. I said it at the deadline. I liked the move. I didn't mind it, and I am such an unpopular opinion. If Kevin is watching, he's gonna like find my address and come get me. But no, I do think there's something there. Like, could it completely fizzle out and he's garbage? Like, sure, but not, I mean, it's one more year at $3 million. I'm not like super concerned with that. So like, give Granato his guy. It's a thing we don't have. We don't have that big monstrous power forward, right?
Right.
If he can find a role for him,
I guess not power forward, but so you do have a big monstrous. Well, I mean, you have Tuck, but I guess he's not
a little different. I think he's got a more vast skill set.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's fair. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, and Tuck, if he could turn into like a Walmart brand version of Alex Tuck, like that's a massive win, right? So
yeah,
I would like to see. Give me 20 more games with Don Granato. Let me just see what it is, right? And like, if it's shitty, I'll admit it's shitty and it was a bad experiment, whatever. But like, I still want to see.
Yeah, and some people I talked to over the offseason kind of mentioned to me how I guess he was more injured than was led on to believe.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so I think when they sat him down and he came back, he got some time to rest, whatever that injury was. I don't know what it was. No, he did play better. Now, we talk about, which, kind of carries a different topic. I know somebody asked like a Quinn point total, but we talked about one of the topics this season is who was going to take Jack Quinn's minutes, essentially, who's going to be up first. And There's a lot of guys we can dive into in a little bit here. I'm sure that question won't even come up. But I think the answer might be to start the season is I think Greenway might get the first opportunity to play with Cousins and Peterka. It wouldn't shock me. He had some good numbers with Cousins to end last season.
Mm-hmm.
So I have concerns about the speed in terms of the type of game that Cousins plays. But at the same time, I think it also adds a different dimension to that line where it's not just doesn't have to just be in a rush attacking group. It can be maybe some more possession type thing, which I think Cousins can do that too. I don't think he's just kind of a one trick pony. So, and I think Peterka can kind of evolve into that. He's pretty good at finding the spaces within the zone. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm curious how it goes. Also a full. Do you want to say full offseason? So it's not like I'm talking about a quarterback now. A season, a training camp, multiple practices, period, in Granato's quote unquote system, if you will. So yeah, we'll see. You said 20 games. Let's do maybe a half a season.
Okay.
That's where I'll go with it, and then we'll see how things go. And I'm confident that I think it'll be better than how it started last season.
Yeah.
What
that's fair.
The end result will be? No, I'm not sure about that. So, but we'll have to see. One funny question here is a good one. Anthony, are you in Ralph Kruger's lair? You're all thinking about it. Ralph Kruger did in his Switzerland house had those things that under sea.
Yes, I am at the World Economic Forum right now, recording live. The basement of the Lizard League. No, I'm in my children's playroom. Chad and I were laughing about this before we started recording. I moved recently, and I don't have a formal office set up, so I have the world's smallest desk in the corner of my children's playroom, which is also Ralph Kruger's office. Really weird. I shouldn't let my kids play in there. But it's so we're calling this the Expected Buffalo Tiny Desk series. So
funny, I have a large desk, but yes,
I'm not kidding. It's like the length of 1.5 of my forearms. It is very small, and it's a triangle, so it fits right in the corner. There's no fucking roundabout.
Right
if it's a corner desk, it's a corner desk.
Corner desk.
There's no farting around. This is what this is, right? So, I may prefer Kruger's lair. He might afford me a little more desk space, but no, I'm sadly not recording from his hideout in Switzerland. I don't know where he was, wherever his little chateau was.
Okay, let's get back to the Sabres questions here, because I think this is back to the topic we were just talking about, sort of. So from Nick here, or Nicholas, who we want to be referred to. This is similar to the Quinn topic. Which, if any, of the Rochester guys make the team? So, Kulik, Savoy, Rosine, Rusek. I guess those are the four guys, right? That'd be in that mix. Rusek, for me, I think is the most likely.
Okay.
And then I think there's a gap. And then I would put small odds on Kulik. And then probably Rosine, and then Savoy last.
Okay. I think that's right.
If I had to split out, I would say 40% Rusek, and then down to 8% Kulik, and then down to 5% Rosine, and then 1% Savoy.
Okay. What percent Benson?
0.02%.
I like it.
But I just don't know where the spot is. I mean, Rusek makes the most sense because he can be your 13th forward, and you can be okay with that. Because they brought back everybody. So I don't know where you're filling the gap in to sneak one of those guys in.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they really want Savoy and Rochester. They're trying to get an exemption super hard.
Are they actually?
I don't think they're trying. I mean, or they've asked. They're not going to get one, but I think that's what they would like.
They've asked really nicely.
They've politely suggested that he be allowed to go to the AHL, but the WHL is not going to go for it. But it's going to be interesting next year. Zach Benson, literally 1 game short, because he played. Because the WHL, they're sneaky. They had a 24-game season the COVID year. You had to play 25 games for it to count as a full year.
You think that was by design?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
100%.
That's upsetting.
He played all 24 games in that season.
Yeah.
But technically is not credited for a full season, so this would only be his 3rd WHL year instead of his 4th. But I feel like the Sabres can be like, come on, 1 game, can you like not? They can also just be assholes and be like, okay, fine, you just don't get him back, and we'll just keep him then if you're gonna, I think he'll get an exemption, but
interesting. Very interesting.
Okay, so before we get off, what about your odds? How do you like, even if you list them in order of most likely to least likely?
I think I'm pretty close to you. I think my order is the same. I think I would maybe put Kulik a little closer to Rusek than you did, but I do feel that your order is correct.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go down. Krabs, Cousins. All right. So there's a couple ways we can go here.
Okay.
There's a Dahlin contract question. We can assess. We can get into that now.
Okay.
Or we can hold on that and we can talk about Krabs, Middlestat, top line, Calder, Savoy. Where do you want to go?
Let's do the Middlestat one because I'm curious about it, I guess. I'm curious to hear what you think.
See where it was.
Because I would say no. I think they'll run back that same first line as before.
Yes. So the question was basically, do you think Middlestat will start in the first line? Well, I try to find it here. I do not think so. I think it'll go back to Alex Tuck. I think that makes – or Alex Tuck. Just Thompson as the top line center. I think that makes the most sense. There we go. There's the question. I understand the success that he had there. I just don't know how you don't go back to Thompson, right? I mean, like, if it's hard to say like it won't work because it will work. We know it's going to work. But if for some reason there's something that doesn't work there, then I guess you have that in your pocket. Because if you're not putting Thompson as your first line center, Cousins is your 2. So are you making Thompson a winger? Like what are we doing here?
No, you're not.
Yeah. Only reason they made him a winger before the end of the season is because he was hurt and really couldn't do the duties of a centerman. So they put him on the wing to take away some of that aspect. So I think it's definitely 100% going to go back to Thompson there. What they do with Middlestat, I think, will be interesting. Where he ends up, I would say it's probably back on the wing, probably, unless I don't know. It's probably I'm trying to think of I guess maybe you could put Yost on the wing. Because you think right now Krebs is probably your fourth line center. It's so interesting, like how they're going to try to fit in Yost. And
no matter how you do it, it's something's off. Like there's a guy out of place, right?
Yeah,
it is interesting.
And then it's like where. It's like where, I mean, is he going to be on a scoring line, right?
Right.
You would think. I mean, I thought when I wrote about Middlestat in the offseason, which made the most sense, but I also, I already talked about, I think Greenway is going to get the first look at taking that Quinn spot. I think the most sense is to put Middlestat with Peterka and Cousins on the wing because Cousins and Middlestat actually had some good numbers and they played together last season.
I like that.
So I think that would make the most sense because Middlestat is also a guy who can play on the rush and he's not that bad on the walls either. So he can kind of, have that whole flow and that thing going too. That's what I would do if I was the coach to start the season, or at least in training camp, see how that goes. But I don't know. It's hard to say. That's one of the reasons why I'm so excited for camp, to see kind of how where his head's at the start. I mean, the funny thing is, like, the camp lines, that's like day one, where
Mhm.
everyone's like, oh, like, look at these lines. Like, that never makes it to the
No.
season. But I'm also curious to see where Granado's head's at to start, to see kind of what he wants to tinker with and see if it works.
Mhm. No, I agree with all that. Yeah, I think, and as much as it sucks because I don't know if it's like the right move for his development. Krebs is going to probably be on that fourth line, like you said. Um, yeah, it's tough. I mean, I like Jost better at center, right? But
Mm-hmm.
what are you going to do there? Because, like, I think long term they want Krebs to be a center. So, are you? I guess you would naturally shift the guy over who is not part of your future really in Tyson Jost, right? And force him into that role, so to speak. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
This question I put up on the screen kind of ties into that. Like, is there which I've thought about recently, thinking about this team, like, if Krabs is going to play in that fourth line role again, when, and maybe the answer is just this is the role they want to play him in, and he's just not going to get the opportunity.
Hmm.
But when is he going to get more of an extended chance to play with more offensive players?
That's the question, right? Is the young talent pool so deep now and so talented that he's the odd man out? And if so, is he the guy you trade, for
Mhm.
defensive help a goalie, right? You have an embarrassment of riches in that regard. So it's interesting. If you don't have an opportunity, if there's no path for him to crack the lineup in a meaningful way, right? In a scoring capacity, let's say.
Right.
Um, yeah, what are you doing there? It's an excellent question.
Yeah. I mean, if he fits this role you have him in, because that's the thing too, is in this checking line role, you could say, that he's in. Because as he would progress, let's say next season. I know I said this last year, but I'm pretty sure, I'm very confident both Oposo and Georgis won't be back. I have some confidence that probably both won't be back next season,
Mhm.
because I don't know how you fit it in. Anyways, um, if he stays in this checking line role, in theory, he still could be put with more offensive forwards.
Mhm.
Like, I know Ben's not in the team next year, but like, he's a guy I think about, like, not in a checking line role, but kind of in a checking line role because of how good he is as a two-way player. Where
Mhm.
still you're going to get scoring out of that line, but he also could help, defensively. Again, as a rookie, it'd be hard to ask, but you know what I mean. Like, you have
Yeah.
guys that I think you can be put into a position where it would be better finishers or even point producers than you're getting out of Oposo and Gergensons. The other thing is, I don't think in their system, at least from a centerman standpoint,
Mhm.
that can play well. I guess it depends what you think about Wahlberg. Is Wahlberg going to be a center or a winger? Because maybe Wahlberg could be the guy that I think could be that checking line center for you.
Mhm.
Because I don't think that I don't think Austin's going to do that for you.
No, I don't either.
Um, I'm not even sure if Kulik is a center, even though it seems like they're trying really hard for him to be one.
Yep.
They did it in the AHL. They kept him. I mean, he was back and forth, but near the end, he was playing center.
Mhm.
And then in the Prospects Challenge, now he's playing center. So I think they're really trying to push that. But
Yep.
I'm not sure at the NHL level he really is. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, but yeah, that's my slight hesitation with trading him. Which, I mean, you can always go get a checking line center to replace him too if you needed to, a veteran. But in terms of having guys in the system, I don't know if you have anybody else that could take the spot that he's currently in the role he's being asked to play.
Mhm.
If that's what they want to do. But again, like I said, they can just go get somebody, because that guy's not really hard to find.
No.
Uh,
No.
so they can just go get a veteran to fill
It's
that
it's
role if they really wanted to.
Minestroza conversation. Like, you throw a rock in the air, you hit one. It's not.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Checking line centers are traded in most off seasons, except this last one. In most off seasons, they're moved.
Right.
You can find them.
Right.
Krabs is going to be interesting this year. We'll see how that goes.
Interesting.
He is. This kind of ties in the same conversation. Then maybe we'll go to Darlene next.
Right.
Cousins. So one of the things that we want to see, well, I do, I'm speaking probably for both of us want to see, is we saw him take that jump offensively last year. I think this year we need to see him improve. I don't think at the same level we saw him jump offensively, but I still think there's a defensive improvement needed there.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, do you move Cousins to the wing if his defense play doesn't improve? My answer is no. I agree.
No.
You do not. What that would likely do, though, is increase your need to have a defensive center because Tage Thompson, for all of his greatness, is not a good defensive center. So if you're not going to get the same defensive ability out of Cousins, then you could put wingers there to mitigate that, right? To improve him. If he's not the guy that drives the defense, maybe you put some wingers around him that can help improve that, so you can fix it that way. Or you just have to focus on a centerman that is good defensively, a two-way guy who we kind of talked about, like Peyton Krabs so far has been.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right.
But no, I'm leaving him at center, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
He's just too good in that spot.
Right. Agreed.
He needs a full run of the ice. I think putting him on the wing doesn't really accomplish that for you.
Agreed.
Okay. Let's go to Darlene. So, question from Michael on Twitter. Thoughts on the rumor of Darlene wanting a shorter term contract? I know you're a busy guy. Did you see these latest rumors before I get into it?
Yeah, man. I think it's bogus.
Okay. So, I have never had an opportunity like this to talk about this Darlene situation, which I got to tell you is becoming exhausting to talk about. Like, it's reaching Ryan Johnson levels that I truly just don't even care anymore. Just whatever, just do something, one way or the other.
I love that analogy. It's I forgot how annoyed you were with that, and like rightfully so.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Go back to college or don't. Like, I don't sign the paper or don't. Whatever at this point, just right. Okay. Anyways, so I thought about it a little bit earlier because I was ready for this question. I figured it was going to come. So I think what I wanted to do is take the people who are listening and then the people who listen on the podcast version of this through the entire picture of what I'm aware of and how this all went down throughout the entire from June to where we are now. Okay, so let's rewind back to June. So Darlene's agent and the Sabres met at the scouting combine.
Red Robin. Oh, shit.
At the scouting combine. I'm pretty sure twice. Once early in the week, and another time later in the week before everything wrapped up. You will notice that it is not a coincidence. That is the time, the week, that I put out the article that I did in the tweet that I did about them working towards a contract and then ultimately what I thought was very close to that. So my understanding of what occurred is they had conversations that week. The two sides, again, there was an agreement in place because there's no pen to paper. No. Okay, until that happens, there's no agreement. But the two sides were, I think, under the same assumption that what they were going to work towards was a long-term deal around 8 years, at 8 years, with an average annual value of around $10 million. Around $10 million is what I've always heard. And I still heard to this day is around $10 million as of today. Still heard the same thing, around $10 million. 10 and a half's been out there. We'll see where that ends up.
Okay.
Then the two sides then met again at the draft to basically realign on where they were and to then begin to work towards the minute details of this said contract. So at that time, both sides were optimistic, and I think still are optimistic, but we're fairly optimistic that something was going to get done. Now, the mistake that I think that I made in this was given that information that the two sides felt they were in a spot where they were going to work towards that year times 10 and a half, whatever deal, that it would come to fruition sooner than, to the point now where we still have nothing. when I dealt with the Thompson contract, that took about a week from when I started to hear about it to when I put it out there. And when I put it out there, it happened that day that was happening. Cousins, same thing. I think it was about 4 or 5 days. I heard about it, and then 4 or 5 days later, it was announced. So I was under the same interpretation that something similar was going to happen here. It's really after July 1st.
Okay.
Of course, it's September 15th, and that has not happened yet. So here we are now. So I want to make a few things very clear. There was never any point, nor did I ever say at any point, that an agreement was done, completed, in place. They were close. They probably are still close. I think it could be any day, around training camp, fan fest this weekend. Both times make it close, right? Both make sense those times. As to the new reports that are coming out, unlike some people have taken the opportunity with me, I'm not somebody who's going to tell you that somebody else is wrong because I don't know. I don't know who they talk to, where they get it from. I don't know. I'm just going to tell you what I know, and what I know is still consistent. The funny thing I said in the Discord earlier today is like, I wish somebody would just text me and say, "Hey, I'm sorry," but you missed on this one. When really, every time something like this comes up, the opposite happens. I get 1 or 2. Today was 2 texts that like, relax, you're fine. Like, you're still going to be there. So it's, I don't know. So from what I know, 8 years was the last that I heard.
Okay.
Around 10 million is the word that I'm being told.
Good.
From the last couple of weeks, I was under, they were still working on the details of structuring. They were still working on the details of, no movement clause, bonuses, all that thing, which, I mean,
complicated.
Could take some time depending where you're at. Yeah. I have not heard anything on it going to 5 years. I have not heard anything at 11.5 million, and I've 135% not heard anything at all about Darlene being upset about any of this. I don't think that's a thing at all. If that's the one thing I would say is inaccurate with 100% certainty, is that there's no upsetness here.
That's good news.
So they're working through it. I don't want to say anything is done because I don't know. I think what's happening here is it's been out there for so long now that not that people are I'm not saying he's making up theories, but like there's going to be theories that, okay, what is going on? Okay. There's some whispers maybe he wants 5 years. Some whispers he wants $11.5 million. I still think it's in that same spot where we're just working through the minor things and it's gonna come out. And I think this stuff is it's what happens, right? Just some stuff that's there for a long time that people talked about. Maybe he doesn't want to be here. Maybe he wants this. Maybe they want that. Maybe they're breaking up. I just think the money aspect of it and the term aspect has been pretty much set. If for some reason it has gone back in the sense that they're talking about money again, or a drastic shift in money, or even a drastic shift in years, then something broke down somewhere. That is a possible scenario. I haven't been told as much, but I also don't want to say it's impossible. But I still think at the end of the day, from people who have gotten contract right stuff for me right 2 or 3 times now with other players, I'm so confident it's going to be 8 years, around $10 million, and it's probably going to be soon. What soon means, I don't know, because I've been told soon since the middle of July. So,
yeah.
We'll see. So that's the whole Darlene way it broke down this summer. For anybody who's curious, it's the first time I've really had to an opportunity to talk it out, the whole pathway of how everything went.
Okay.
So
I like how you went over it. It was good. It was very concise. I don't know. Look into what.
Journey.
Yeah, sure.
Of the way that it went.
Yeah.
Off of that, throw this question up there, which I didn't think about till Blake threw it up. Owen Power. So I will say first, I know nothing about what's going on with Power. Not a single thing. But what is interesting is we have the Jake Sanderson deal on the table now. So you have a direct comp. It's hard to get a feel, I think, of where this one would go. Because on one side, I get the Sabres wanting to do the full 8 years and get them to lock in now. If you're Owen Power, you go, well, I've only played one NHL season. If I go have a monster second season, then obviously I would make more money. What is my rush?
It's the Darlene thing again, basically.
Right. What is my rush? Now, it's taking the bet on yourself. If you have a down season, and we've seen sophomore slumps, right? Especially for defensemen, we've seen it. Maybe you don't get as much money. Because that's the thing you go back and forth on. But if you're Owen Power, you're like, I'll be fine. I'll have a good year.
Right.
I'm second year in the league. I know more, and I'll go do my thing. In terms of the actual question, does he get 8 years, or does he choose to go shorter term? I'll just say I think it's less than 8 years. At the end of the day, it'll be less than 8.
Okay.
I think the 6 to 7 makes sense.
Okay.
So that's contracts. I hope everybody is satisfied. I will officially declare that I will not be addressing Darlene stuff anymore in terms of future podcasts unless there's an extension. Like, this is it. Okay. I've addressed it numerous times on Twitter. I just spent about 5 minutes on it here. Not going to change. If anything changes, I'll let you know. And also, if I'm wrong, I'll let you know too. If I'm wrong, then I'll be like, that was on me. I got that one wrong. But from what I've been told, I still think I'm in a good spot.
I like it. I mean, he's definitely signing this year.
Yes.
Yeah, and
I would be stunned if the puck drops on opening night and he doesn't have a contract.
Yeah, the idea that he's frustrated, but is still doing all the PR stuff for them, and I don't know, man, I don't buy it.
No, that's the one thing I'm unequivocally 100% sure. There is no frustration on either side. Zero, none, zip.
Right. So
we'll see. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I don't know. Hopefully it's tomorrow, and then we can all be happy and talk about his new contract tomorrow. And then there'll be a hockey game and all that fun stuff.
I'm surprised they didn't do it this week, just because of, I mean, Bills wise, right? You had some negative stuff, like how they played on the field. Number one, some other extracurriculars, right? Accusations, what have you.
That is continued throughout the entirety of the week. They keep us stepping on rakes.
Right. I thought for sure the day that either that day or the day after, they're gonna be like, announce Darlene and get this monkey off our back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So
okay. Yeah. Moving on to the next one. So let's get a few more in here. Let's see. Someone asked about Middlestad extension. I'll just quickly say I don't think so. At least not now. We'll see next year. Here's a fun one from Jeff. Will a Sabre win the Calder Trophy next season?
No, because Bedard is going to get first line minutes and first power play time with Chicago. So no.
Yes. I mean the obvious guy here is Levi, right? I don't think any other rookie would be impactful enough to do that. So it's Levi. So basically, is Levi going to win the Calder?
Right, it's Levi. Yeah, it's Levi. He's it.
Levi. Yeah.
Is there another rookie that has a reasonable chance of playing?
I guess Kulik and Rusak would be it.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's Bedard's the front runner, not going away, but it's considerable amount. But in a world where Levi plays around 40 games, is the number one goaltender, and the Sabres are a playoff team?
Yeah.
I still think the ultimate answer is, if you had to hold me down to it, make a bet that it also will be Bedard. But I think in order for it to be Levi, those things would have to happen. He would have to have good numbers. He'd have to play at least 40 games. And the Sabres to be a playoff team.
I think that's all correct.
But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Bedard, like we said. Let's see here. Let me check Twitter. I haven't checked Twitter in a while. Told people to put questions in there, and I haven't checked. Let me.
Sometimes it's like that.
Let me go back and just double check that one really quick. All right, here's one. What happens to Olofsson when Quinn is back? Just from him on Twitter.
Banished to the Stockholm League. I don't know. Is that a thing? He goes and plays for Vesha. No. Hopefully.
I mean, he's your 13 forward, right?
Correct.
But I mean, we also don't know, is somebody else hurt?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's possible, and he just keeps playing.
Yeah.
But if everybody's healthy and Quinn is back, I think he's then your 13th or I guess 14th forward at that point. Again, it kind of depends on injuries.
All right. Right. Yeah.
Here's a fun question.
Hit me.
From Blake again. Blake's got some good questions. Blake's getting a lot of run today.
Who
has more appearances this year, UPL or Comrie?
Oof. Comrie.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Comrie. I don't know that I'm right. I'm just going to go with it.
I'll say Lucan. So here's the question I'll ask you to spin off of this.
Okay.
What do you do in training camp? I think we're all under the assumption that this goaltending thing between Levi, Comrie, Lucan should be open, right? Open competition. Nobody's earned anything. Although in the back of our minds, we all know that Levi's the one. It's really hard not. He's have to be really, really, really bad to not start in the NHL. What do you do if Lucan doesn't play well in training camp and Comrie does? Remember, Lucan is no longer waiver exempt. He would require waivers to go down. What do you do? Because on one hand, they're not going to want to probably lose Lucan for nothing. So do you look to trade him? Do you just try to put him through and see what happens? Do you just put Comrie through and see what happens? Because my fear is this scenario does unfold. Comrie plays better. Lucan's not that good. They still put Comrie through waivers to get because like that's what you do. They don't want to carry 3. He gets claimed. He's gone. Lucan is now your number 2, and Lucan is bad like he was last year. Then it's like, holy hell! Not only do you have a scenario where Lucan isn't good, and we don't know what Levi is going to be. Let's say like that is up and down kind of thing. Not only did you do that, you then lost the guy that was playing better than this guy in camp in the few whatever games he has. Again, it's a small sample, but like I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. I don't know what you do.
I feel like you probably stick with Lucan and hope he can boost his value especially if he's not, I guess, someone you're man, that's tough. I'm trying to talk myself in and out of this. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Maybe the right answer, and I hate it, and I don't know how they would do it, is you keep all 3.
Yikes.
But like, but with the roster, you have like 47 defensemen. Like, how do you do it from a roster standpoint?
I don't know. I'm thinking. I'm not just like.
No, I mean it's difficult. I don't know how you handle that situation unfolds.
I guess you look yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, like, what do we have to do? Like, what, how much are we willing to sacrifice to make the playoffs, right? If you're in a spot, like if you're not in that spot, you keep the young guy, obviously, I think, right? Yes. I think that's pretty apparent. But like, are we willing to lose Ukko-Pekka Lucan potentially for nothing if we're 6th in the East at the beginning of March, right? And then we've got to make a call here. I think the answer is probably yes. You don't do that arbitrarily. You try to trade him, you make an attempt, right? But Yeah, I don't think they or anyone should be valuing him to the extent where like you absolutely under no circumstances can lose him for nothing because like you can. There's a world where that's a viable potential outcome.
It's about winning games now.
It's about winning games now. Exactly right. Exactly right.
I think you've built your cupboard of not goaltenders, or prospects.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you've done all that, and you've kept your draft picks, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I think where I ultimately land is you have to land on the decision that makes your hockey team better
Mm-hmm.
this year. And if that means that you have to eat a turd sandwich, if you will,
I will not.
to lose Lucan in because he's just simply outplayed by the other guy.
Right.
Well, that's the way it goes, right? I mean, you're trying to win games now.
Yeah.
You can't make mistakes in the effort to keep prospects, especially a 24-year-old goaltender. I get he's still young, but a 24-year-old goaltender that has really not shown any signs of being up to playing at the NHL level or even the professional level, to be honest, AHL or NHL.
Right.
Especially, I mean, if you roll around and you tell them like, man, come on, like this is, I mean, they sent him to sign last year. The dude didn't even dress once Levi got here. Literally didn't dress.
I know.
Like Comrie was even the backup, or Anderson. Mm-hmm. He didn't even dress in a game when Levi showed
He
up.
was firmly the fourth goalie on the depth chart.
Yeah. And he was in the second half of the season, he was one of the worst goaltenders performance-wise in the league.
Yeah, the private models are
even the private and the public both.
No, I'm saying the private are even harder on him.
Yeah, right.
If you're wondering, like, is this a public model thing? No. The private models, however, were much more forgiving of Eric Comrie.
Yes, I was going to say that. Comrie actually graded out better than private. And I was even told as the season was ending.
He graded not only better, he graded positively.
Yeah.
Which is crazy for a guy who had, a 0.88 or something? But
yeah.
The Sabres defense was poopy when he was healthy.
Yeah.
Right? Then
he had some stupid luck, and then he was injured or not injured. And like the crazy part, they talked about a lot, is he was playing his best hockey when Levi came. He had that shutout against the Islanders. He played well against Montreal.
All true.
And then again, Levi came and nobody else saw the net besides Anderson the last night of the season. Or his last game, whatever, last home game.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. Last one. I think this is a good question to end it on if I can find where it is. Here it is. From Joshua. What are you going to be looking for in the preseason and or early regular season that would make you say Sabres have improved their special teams? God damn, I love this topic. Because it's such an underrated topic of how this team can improve that we do not talk about nearly enough. Their penalty kill was horrendous. Probably just right up there next to goaltending, costing a playoff spot. And their power play, while it scored at times, was also not good. Not good. I think they had the lowest shot quality expected goals for on the power play in the entire league, and like one of the lowest in like years.
Would not surprise me if that was the case. Yeah,
I'll double check it now while you're talking, but
yeah,
it's huge. This is a huge important part to being a playoff team next year.
Yeah. Am I frozen?
No, you're moving still.
Oh, that's weird. For me. Frozen on my screen. Whatever. The power play we've been talking about for how long? I mean, 5, 6, 7 years now. It's the Eichel power play with a twist instead of Jack Eichel. But on the other side, but we flipped it. We're real clever now.
Yeah.
The power play is horrendous, and I don't see them making like sweeping changes to it. So I don't know what you do there. Your personnel is the same, which I don't think it was ever a personnel problem personally. But they strategically, it's horrible. I hope the stats guys got in their ear like, hey, you're not optimizing this, and they do something different because it was horrid. I mean, just atrocious. And I guess again, I think everyone just got wise to the one thing the Sabres do. They do one thing on the power play, and only that one thing. And if that one thing doesn't work, it's done. It's a goose egg. It's over.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's oof.
So I was a little bit harsh on the power play. It wasn't as bad as I was making it out to be. I think I was mixing up some of the power play numbers. The penalty kill numbers.
penalty kill numbers. Yeah, okay.
They were still near the bottom in expected goals for per 60 on the power play. They ranked 27th.
Still pretty bad.
Still pretty bad.
Still
they
pretty
shot.
Bad.
Let's see if I can do the math because I think it's a crazy number. So I'm gonna get the math really quick because it's kind of funny. Their expected goals for on the power play were follow this across here 50.17. Their actual goals for were 62.45. So they shot 12 goals over expected on the power play, which I'm pretty sure was second behind Edmonton. In terms so basically you had crazy shooting luck, but you just were not generating quality in any regard.
Right.
And yeah, once teams early, maybe middle season, not early, figured out, okay, we're just going to have someone stand next to Thompson. There really wasn't much of an answer for that. In terms of the penalty kill, though, someone pointed it out. Blake did. Clifton, I think, will be a big part of an improved penalty kill. I think having Samuelson back healthy will help the penalty kill too. Eric Johnson, I think, has had some good numbers, or at least got penalty kill minutes, or even had good numbers. I can't remember exactly. Last time I checked, a little bit in Colorado, so I think he'll get some penalty kill minutes. I think it'll help get Yoki Haru probably off the penalty kill, and I think he was one of their worst defensive penalty killers. So getting him off will help in that regard too. But yeah, I think they'll lean heavily on Dahlin and Clifton and Johnson, and they'll probably mix in, whoever's left down there.
Right.
To kind of rotate in.
Yeah, it sounds right. Yeah, I know that's not really the question, but the defensive depth is still mildly concerning for me. I think you've got half a roster full of high end, but third pairing guys.
Yeah,
that's not my favorite. But again, what are you gonna do? Nobody gives shit.
It's not like we missed on one besides Carlson.
Right, and is that a miss? Because would you have really wanted that
contract?
Maybe, not really though.
Right. Especially if you're trying to improve your defense. Eric Carlson doesn't improve your defense.
Nope.
If you hear Carlson, you were at we will play defense never and win game 7-5. That would be your approach. Yeah, but the defensive depth, I don't know. I guess the depth is weird. Depth wise, I think they're okay. In terms of improving as a defensive group, we'll see. I guess it depends. I think a lot of it depends on Clifton, which I was really a big fan of that move. I don't know how much Eric John's left in the tank. So I think a lot of it falls on Clifton. And then, you have Bryson still kicking around and Riley Stillman, Stillman played well when he was asked. But again, I don't think it's a guy I want playing 60-plus games for me. But I think he's servable as a kind of a step-in injury guy. Yeah, even the defensive.
Yeah, I liked Stillman quite a bit actually. I probably didn't. I found it an irrelevant deal when it was made, but I like him. But again, though, it's just another guy who's just a third pairing guy, like Eric Johnson, third pairing guy. Yogi Haru, I think he's less than, but let's call him a third pairing guy, right? Clifton, second pairing guy, right? It's just I don't know. It's tough, and Samuelson is he projects as a second pairing guy. What he is now, by force, a first pairing guy, I guess. But you know what I mean.
What we're going to do the next time we do a podcast is it might even be the entire podcast. We're going to talk about Henry Jokiharju. Not that I think he will be good.
I'll be absent that day.
But I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to tell you why it's okay if he plays with Dahlin next year.
Oh, fuck off. No.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to tell you why it's going to be okay.
It's not. I'm gonna tell you why you're wrong.
Okay, well then that's why we're not doing it now. We're gonna do it next podcast.
I know.
We're gonna have a conversation about it.
Mm.
You'll see.
Can't wait.
Just let the numbers fill your ears that I give you. And it's not even just like so much on Yoki Haru. I think it's how the rest of your blue line will then play out as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll just say this: if Big Boy Dahlin's about to get between $10 and $10.5 million, it's time for Buddy to maybe drag someone around.
Mm.
A lot of the big guys around the league, you look at who their partner is, they're not well known guys. It's just because that guy is so good, your number one guy. You know, if you look at who some of the big name defensemen have played with.
That's really nice. I have a lot of historical data to explain to you that that's not the case here.
Okay.
They do poorly together.
Not last season.
But like, yes, last season. It wasn't good.
It was really barely.
We're going to look at numbers. It was really good. It wasn't.
It was. Last year was good.
I don't think
you want me to give you the numbers right now? Because I have it right here.
Go ahead.
All right. I was trying to give you a break, but here we are.
Care. I'm so tired. I don't
care. That's exactly what I was trying to give you a break.
So, I don't care.
Hit me. I'll just give you the numbers, and then I'll give you the numbers to set up for the next one. The next episode.
Do the thing. Win the points.
Do the thing with the thing. Do the thing with the thing. Yoki Haru. Here we go. Oh wait, let me just pull up Darling because now I'm getting all of Yoki Haru's partners. I don't want that. This is expected. Evolving hockey numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Darlene and Yoki Haru. I just want defensemen. I'm doing this way more complicated than it needs to be. Let me do it this way. Sorry.
No worries, dog.
Okay, here we go. They played a total of, this isn't a small sample, 232 minutes together last season, okay? They're at 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
On ice shot share, Corsi, 58%.
Okay, Corsi's great. What was their expected goal share?
57%.
There's no way that can be right. Hang on.
I'm looking at it right now.
I have a new laptop and I'm not logged into all my fucking analytics.
Expected goals for per 60 was a 3.31. Expected goals against 2.42. Darlene's lowest, besides Clegg and Labushkin, who he barely played with, Yoki Haru was the best on ice defensive numbers at a 2.42 expected goals against per 60.
I can't log into any of my shit. I'm so pissed off right now.
Do you want me to screen share and show you? Like,
no, I don't fucking care. It's just I don't recall that ever being a thing. Like that being good at all.
Yeah.
I recall it being terrible for some reason.
Now, what is terrible? What not terrible, but what wasn't good that I think can be deceiving, as you would know, is their on ice goal, like their actual goal share, was 43%.
Okay.
And that's because their on ice save percentage was 85%. So that'd be the reason for that. I'm sorry, 86%. But better numbers, which is I have this in my head because it's better numbers than Samuelson and Darlene put up together last season.
Well, yeah, I know those weren't great. And but
49% expected goal share. If you want his best defenseman that he played with, if you take away the 60 minutes with Labushkin, was the 93 minutes that he played with
Stillman?
Bryson. Kel Clegg.
Oh, that's right.
67% expected goal share with Clegg in 93 minutes.
That's right. I remember from the handedness research I did that they were stupid good together.
Yeah. That's what I still say a small sample of 93 minutes, but yeah. It's pretty funny. And the thing is, too, I looked into the Darlene and Yoki Haru thing. I was like, oh, I bet it is they were trailing when they were together or they were ahead or something. It's some sort of like goofiness like that. Turns out not the case. It's pretty neutral, even minutes in all scenarios. So you now have time to prepare yourself to counteract me because I have that in my back pocket. Now, I will give you, you're correct. In the past, it has not worked. In past numbers were not good. But last year, it was pretty good. Pretty good, especially offensively.
Okay, I'll have to look at it. I don't remember that being a thing at all. And I feel like I looked at that stuff ad nauseum.
Yeah. 3.31 expected goals for per 60 for that pair. 2.77 for Samuelson and Dowling. Interesting stuff. But yes, we'll get into it next one. I only want to go now. We're already 5 minutes past.
Sure.
All right. So I see more questions pop in here. A lot of these people are asking questions. We touched on these earlier, so I don't think I'm ignoring you. So you'll have to. We're going to put out the audio version, or you can rewatch the video version again of these stuff we touched on, like goaltending and other stuff like that. So I appreciate everybody who watched. I appreciate Anthony, who is being run through the ringer and is dead tired, for pushing through here in this hour.
All good.
It's good. Buddy. It's good to talk hockey again. Hockey games this weekend.
Hell yeah!
It's fun. Fun to talk hockey.
Fun. It's fun. Say it. Say you're having fun.
Little Batman reference in there. Getting back your own self.
I don't know what I am. I don't know who I am anymore.
You have to look on Twitter. I can't share it. It is hilarious though. Look at my tweet about the live video. Someone in here put.
I fucking saw what they put.
Wait, hang on. In the Utah.
Yeah, hilarious. Fucking ha.
It's so good.
You dick. All right. Yeah, no, I know. It is actually really good. I hate that I look that way now.
It's great.
I've aged so horribly. But
it's not. You don't look the same. But it's
it's
the way
no. But it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Thank you for the existential dread. Whoever the fuck did that. That was cool. No, but I don't talk about my job on Twitter or anything like that, because why the fuck would I do that? But to Chad's point, my I don't even want to say a hiatus, because that's wrong, because it's like the off season. But my lack of Twitter
went away.
Yeah, my lack of Twitter presence, let's say, is related to some exciting, good, and awesome, and like very, very planned and maybe I had to schedule things with my professional career. So back at it as hockey season starts, but this was a very, very taxing summer. Again, all good things, but I'm all good and looking forward to it.
All right. Ending on a good note, positive note. Positive vibes end every podcast and live stream.
That's what we do here, man.
All right, everybody. Enjoy your night. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we will talk again soon. See ya.